I got you again.
Oh, you got me again? Okay.
Yeah, I got you again. You're back.
I was making a dumb joke.
Oh,
One last.
I only.
I was like, oh, it's probably the British usage because I'm not familiar with it from my days of studying grammar in American schools. I don't know what that voice is supposed to be.
I think it's a good one though.
Oh, thank you.
I think you should stick to that.
Just as my primary voice.
Just inexplicably use that voice for the rest of this podcast.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Lewis Midas.
And this is the Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
Sherlock.
Yeah, Sherlock.
Sherlock.
Episode 2.
Series 3, Episode 2.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't want to confuse it for the second episode,
which would be the Blind Banker.
Yes.
How do you like this episode?
I liked it. I it's funny because I liked it more than I usually like episodes that revolve around flashbacks. Because usually I'm not particularly fond of those types of when they have episodes like that in a show. Yeah. Notable exception, of course, being Lost. But that's kind of a different thing, I like to think. But I did like it. And I liked it, I think, because, like, in spite of the fact that they were constantly flashing back to stuff, I thought the mystery was cool. The
mystery was pretty cool. I actually think this is my favorite episode of Sherlock.
Oh, really?
Yes, I really think that.
Wow. That is saying something.
Yeah. I too like the flashbacks, I guess. Well, no, you didn't say you like the flashbacks. You said you tolerate them despite usually disliking them, which is different.
Right.
I actually really like the weird structure of the episode where it's kind of like all over the place and how I thought that was kind of neat, and I thought that it was very the whole episode seemed very much like a Sherlock as a sitcom to me.
yeah, kind of.
And Moffat is by his traditional like writing credentials, he's a sitcom writer. So
that's right.
Although this one wasn't actually written just by Moffat.
Well, right, because it if I'm remembering the writing credits, there were 3 people. There was, I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly. There was Moffat, and then there was, I think, Mark Gatiss, and then one other person.
It's Moffat,
or unless I'm misremembering.
It's Moffat, Gatiss, and Thompson, who's the other usual writer on Sherlock, and he wrote the Blind Banker. He wrote the Reichenbach Fall, and he wrote some episodes of Doctor Who as well. Actually, no, he wrote 2. He wrote Curse of the Black Spot and Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. So, not very good ones, but he wrote them.
So he has a history of just not writing good episodes.
Yeah. I think Mark Gatiss mentioned on Twitter who wrote which parts of the episode, but now I can't remember what exactly he said.
I'm sure he wrote the bad parts.
I know Moffat wrote the speech at the wedding.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like, I don't know.
That's kind of interesting, just like the sort of collaborative system of writing this episode. Because, I thought, I don't know, that's not like what I expect from writing. I don't know what I expect from writing, but like that's not what I expect, I guess.
Yeah. I forget where I read something. I know I read something specific. Like one of them wrote the speech at the wedding. One of them wrote the flashbacks, and one of them wrote all the stuff about the planning.
Ah.
So I just don't remember who was who.
I guess that's like a sane way to divide it up, because those are kind of like three separate stories.
Yeah. They kind of are, and I liked all of it.
Yeah, it's funny because in spite of what I think we both said for the previous episode, this one does kind of have like a central mystery to it, even though there is no apparent connection until the end of the two mysteries.
This is true.
So that's neat. Although also hugely coincidental, because I don't think there was like a reason that Sherlock picked both of those, unless he was just picking unsolved mysteries.
Yeah, it did seem to be purely coincidental, and he even mentioned at one point that he should have chosen the elephant in the room instead.
Right. So there's an alternate universe where the little kid like suggests that the elephant was the one dating those women.
If only.
Yeah, I would love to see that episode. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that there was really it was cute seeing like all the interactions between John and Sherlock planning for the wedding, and and Sherlock freaking out over the napkins or whatever, and stuff, and just like it's all a lot of fun.
Well, my favorite part by far was drunk Sherlock.
Oh yeah, I would say that is probably the best.
And they spent a good long time on that too.
Oh really? Well, wait. What do you mean?
Well, there's a good solid like 10 or 15 minutes, or at least it feels that way.
Oh, that's
like you have them going out to the pub, getting drunk, coming back, being drunk, then going out on a drunk case, and like a significant chunk of the episode is devoted to their drunken adventure.
That's true. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I liked all the things they did with that. I liked when he's actually at the crime scene or whatever, and he's trying to do like the thing he always does, where he like looks at a thing and it's surrounded by words, and the words are all just really nonsensical. That's just I thought that was really funny and clever. And
yeah, I like that in general, because I feel like one of the things that's kind of always made Sherlock feel unique is the way it does the on-screen text for stuff like that. And I thought that in this season, like especially in this episode, and then I think even more so in the next episode, which I guess we'll talk about later, they found clever and interesting things to do with that.
Yeah, they sure did. Because in season 1, obviously that's where they're introducing everything, and one of the big things is like, how is the like with the cell phones, with the text messages coming in. That's something they continue to do with all cell phones, I guess, going forward. And then they also do the text stuff when Sherlock's deducing things. But yeah, this is kind of a nice progression and stuff. It's interesting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
one of my favorite things in the whole episode is the opening sequence where Lestrade is working on some completely unrelated case that he's been working on for months. And my favorite part of this opening sequence is when these people in masks are doing their thing, and then they hack into their computer, and there's a close-up on the screen, and it says, "Hacking detected."
Yes. I think that has to be the best.
Hacking detected. It's an actual thing that is on a computer screen. Hacking detected.
Obviously, every good programmer knows when you're writing a program, you obviously have to code in some little some error message saying hacking detected. That's just programming 101. In case any of the vulnerabilities you have left in your program should be used, you need to be able to say someone's using them, rather of course than fixing them.
And I think it's not just the fact that it says hacking detected. I'm gonna send you something.
Okay.
It's just like the way the text is presented. It's surrounded by on either side 3 asterisks, and on one side there's a space, but on the other side there's not.
Well, obviously, I mean, come on. I mean, I think whoever coded this was thinking like, well, there's no way anyone's hacking into my system, so I'm going to do this thing that we've all understood we have to do, and I'm going to put this in my code. But I'm not going to like spell check it or anything, because I mean, come on, no one's gonna actually break into my code. But that's kind of amazing. Also, maybe is that just accepted rules of grammar? Like you put a space between your asterisks that precede the phrase, but then not one that comes after it.
I suppose it must be in UK. It must be like British usage, because I'm not familiar with it from my school days. What you do when you put 3 asterisks before and after something.
Yeah, I don't even really know what that message is supposed to mean.
I don't know, but that is an unaltered screenshot that I'm showing you, so it is given that level of focus in the frame. It's not. I haven't zoomed in. I haven't cropped anything out.
No, I remember it. I do remember it. Although it's funny because I guess I didn't think much of it at the time. But that is kind of ludicrous. Because I'm not even sure what that's supposed to mean. Like, I mean, did it mean that like someone attempted to hack in, but it was blocked? Or does it mean like it was like, all right, well, obviously I'm going to let this person through, but I am going to flag them as doing something they shouldn't be doing. Like, I don't even understand what that could possibly mean.
It's almost a moot point, because everything that happens in that opening sequence is completely irrelevant to the episode.
That's a good point.
Basically, it's all just the setup to a joke where he's like, just to set up the fact that he's in the middle of something really big, and then he gets a text from Sherlock, and it sounds urgent, and he has to go running, and then he comes all the way across town, and it's nothing. Sherlock's just talking about the best man speech, which is almost identical to like they've done that joke before, basically.
So I don't really know how this works, but I've never attended a wedding where there are telegrams.
Yeah, so I haven't either. Maybe that's a UK thing.
Well, that's what I was wondering. But I don't really. I guess I'm not so much confused over like what they are, because it seems pretty self-explanatory. It seems like a thing that is sent in lieu of yourself. Mm-hmm. Like if you can't actually attend, you send one of these. I get that, but what I don't really get is why Mrs. Hudson finds it so funny that Sherlock's going to be in charge of reading them. Because
it is funny.
But I guess. But is it that funny?
I think it's pretty funny. I mean, like him having to read all of these, soppy, silly messages about how proud and lovey and all that. It's kind of funny.
I guess so, but it just seems so weird to insert a flashback about that.
A flashback about someone laughing about it?
Well, yeah. Like, I don't know. It just seems like, listen, guys, this isn't going to be funny enough on it, or maybe not even. Like, maybe it's just like, all right, so we want to prepare the audience for how funny this is going to be by making someone laugh really hard about it before it even happens. And then they'll be warmed up for how funny it actually is. And then I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
It is a little bit, I guess. Might have been a little bit unnecessary too, because I probably would have been able to find it funny on my own.
Probably. Maybe they just wanted to hold you by the hand and make sure that you thought it was funny.
It's like a laugh track.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like a laugh track from the past.
Yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe it was more of an issue that up until that point I was like inferring what a telegram was, and like so like Mrs. Hudson was laughing about it, and then she was like, "Oh, the telegrams," and I still didn't know what they were talking about, and even after until the telegrams were actually being read, I had no idea what I was in for. So maybe it was that I just couldn't get past, and that's what prevented me from finding it as funny as maybe Mrs. Hudson did. I do not know.
And maybe you never will.
It's entirely possible. So kind of the crux of the episode, or not really, like, well, one of the things that sort of pieces this all together is that the photographer guy is like rehearsing with the guardsman, as if to, you know, sort of prepare for the wedding, but his rehearsal doesn't actually work. I mean, the guy lives.
Well, and I feel like that kind of makes it kind of silly, because first of all, he lives. Second of all, when I forget the guy, what's the intended target's name? I don't remember.
Major
Sholto, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So when Sholto when Sholto realizes that he's been stabbed, he's like, "Well, I'm going to die now. I guess I should just face it." It's like, dude, you just heard Sherlock explain how this happened to another guy, and then he survived after receiving medical attention some like 7 or 8 minutes after he started bleeding out. You're gonna be fine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe you could say that the photographer guy maybe he might have a name, but I don't know what it is. He made some improvements to his stabbing system or something. Like maybe he got a sharper knife or a duller knife. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what kind of, like a serrated
one of those knives you see on infomercials that cuts through pennies.
Exactly. Maybe that's the thing that he needed to actually get it to. But you know, so I don't know. It could be, but then you'd think he'd wanna try it again to see if his improvements worked. I guess what I'm saying is he's not a very good scientist.
Well, he might have done more than one rehearsal.
Oh, so yeah.
We only know of one, but there could have been another one that we just didn't happen to hear about, and that Sherlock never knew about.
Yeah, that could very well be.
Maybe he tried it, 10 times, and 9 of them it was successful because John Watson wasn't there to stop the bleeding.
There you go. Yeah.
By tying Sherlock's scarf around him.
So surely at the wedding where John and Sherlock are both present, there's going to be no problem with that murder, though.
Yeah, I wonder if the photographer had any misgivings about that.
Well, right.
Like, because at first he had this big plan, and this big plan was, I'm going to murder this guy at this wedding. Now, it's the wedding of this guy who's famously friends with the world's most famous detective. So, okay, well, that's probably going to be okay. I think I can handle that. And then, after he makes that decision and starts putting that plan in motion, the world's most famous detective shows up to his test run and solves it. who he knows is also going to be at the wedding. And at no point does he go, oh, geez, maybe I should pick something that's a little bit less convoluted.
Well, yeah, but well, he does even say that.
He says that late in the game, but it's like you had pretty good reason to do that earlier.
Well, maybe he just really liked his idea and he couldn't see past its flaws, and he was like, "Nah, it's gotta work. It's just too good."
Yeah,
and it was his own hubris that got him.
And he realizes it only in hindsight.
Yes, it's the some sort of gambler's fallacy, probably.
Which raises the question of, like, what was the point of the test?
Well, he's not that bad of a scientist. He knows he needs to at least, test his hypothesis.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd think if he couldn't learn from it, then, maybe he should, I don't know. I mean, it is a neat idea. I will give him that. I wouldn't have thought of it.
I probably wouldn't have thought of it either.
So hats off to him for that, I suppose.
And hats off to whichever writer came up with it.
Yeah.
Whichever of the three writers.
Right, because they're the ones who actually thought of it.
Yeah.
This character was just written to think of it.
He's just a pawn.
Yes, in a much greater game.
The great game, in fact.
Yes.
What did you think of the dubstep version of the Sherlock remix? Of the Sherlock theme, rather. Yes.
Well, I thought it was especially good that it was like played while they were getting hammered.
Yes.
I thought that was I liked that quite a bit, actually. And I thought that's the most appropriate time to have a dubstep version of the Sherlock theme. Like, if you're gonna have one, it's got to be when they're like throwing back, drinks or whatever at like a bar with, techno lights or whatever. No, that's not actually a thing. I don't know. Strobe lights. That's what I was thinking of.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was neat. Well, it seems like that sort of like theme has come up a lot recently, and it's mostly just been like they played it when Sherlock came back, like when he like put on his coat or whatever, and they used it for that.
Well, that has always been like their primary go-to theme. It's like I Am the Doctor, except for Sherlock.
That's true. I don't know. It seems like maybe what might have happened is between series 2 and 3, I purchased the Sherlock soundtrack, and so I hear that track a lot when I listen to it. Well, I mean, I hear it once every time I listen to it, but and so maybe that has just kind of made it so that it's more noticeable to me, and maybe that's what my deal is. But it seems like they're using it more. Maybe that's just my imagination. But my larger point is I liked seeing a dubstep version of it because I thought that was different.
It was quite interesting.
Yes. But yeah, I hope to see more versions of it. Perhaps just countless iterations. I mean, there are so many different music genres.
They gotta work on some more of them. They gotta get, I don't know, like, I don't even know. I can't even imagine. Like, they need to do a chiptune version.
Exactly. That would be amazing. They should do that. Like, have like some mystery involving like arcade cabinets or something.
That would be great. I'm sure there already is a chiptune version of the Sherlock theme out there.
Right. They don't even need to compose it themselves. They can just get it off of YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Wherever it may reside.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thought that was. I mean, like, at what point does it become overused? I mean, like, that's I wonder.
Oh, I think it's pretty overused already anyway. So.
So no need to worry about it then. They can just go full steam ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, there you go. And you know what? Good on them for that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So when that scene where Sherlock is investigating that website, where with all the women who have like dated a ghost or whatever.
Yes.
He has like a dozen laptops open.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if he understands that you can have like multiple chat sessions open on a single computer.
I think this is the kind of thing that like Stephen Moffat doesn't understand.
where you need to have every chat session represented by a separate computer because that's obviously how it works.
I guess.
I mean, it certainly like looks better than like just Sherlock sitting in front of a single laptop. But I mean, unless there's some, I don't know, mind palace reason for doing it.
There may be. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't have a mind palace, so it could very well be that this is like standard mind palace practice, and I just don't know.
It could be. Another technology thing that bugged me, that probably didn't bug you, but it did bug me, is that when they do the pub crawl, he uses the timer, and it's an iPhone timer, but it's an iOS 6 iPhone timer. Why is it an iOS set? Why is it not iOS 7? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I didn't notice that because I recognized it as being like an iPhone kind of UI, but I didn't realize that it was not iOS 7.
So why wouldn't it be iOS 7? That's what I want to know.
Well, wait. When did iOS 7 come out?
I don't remember exactly, but it was last year.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Well, it certainly wasn't this year, because this year is like only a few weeks old.
Well, that's true. Well, I guess my bigger point is, was it before or after? No, that doesn't even make sense. I was gonna say, was it before or after November 5th? But that doesn't even, like, that's. I think it was before.
It was definitely before November 5th.
Okay, well, in that case, there's no excuse.
No, because I mean, statistically, a lot of most iPhone users upgraded.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, very high upgrade rates.
Oh, wait, hang on. What about iPod touches?
Yeah. What about them? Huh?
Did they get iOS 7 too?
Of course they did.
Oh,
Are you joking?
like what do I know?
Not like older ones. No, older ones did not. So could have been an old iPod Touch, I guess.
Well, yeah, because you don't know what Sherlock's using.
He's been dead for years, so maybe he's still got like the 3rd gen iPod Touch. Could be.
Yeah, I think that could very well be it. Maybe he follows the same theory I do, that I prefer having one device for communication and one device for entertainment, and so maybe
that's 6 laptops for for chat.
Well, you gotta have, yeah, obviously. I think it's all making sense now.
Presumably, yeah, to someone.
Yes, like Stephen Moffat.
Mm-hmm.
But the upgrade to iOS 7 was not mandatory, though.
I mean, it wasn't mandatory, but why wouldn't you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe Sherlock hates change.
Could be.
I don't know such things. Maybe he held out for iOS 5 for the longest time. I don't know if that was the same kind of deal.
No, not really.
Well, what did iOS 6 introduce? It was the maps?
I think iOS 6 introduced maps. I think it introduced, to be perfectly honest, it all blends together now. I know maps was touted as one of the major new features. Yeah, I think iOS 6 is also like Passbook or some shit, some useless shit like Passbook.
So
and iOS 5 had Newsstand. They've all got some like useless shit in there just for shits and giggles.
So basically, so you don't know. Maybe Sherlock for the longest time was opposed to Passbook, and so he didn't want to upgrade to that.
Well, I mean, Passbook doesn't do anything.
Maybe it does something to him.
Could be.
I don't know. I'm willing to give Sherlock a pass for both
for Passbook. You can get that pass and keep it in Passbook.
Yes.
That way he can, whenever he needs to show it, he can just pull out Passbook, and he doesn't even have to go to the app for the pass you gave to him. Just go straight to Passbook.
I don't even know what Passbook is.
It's just an app that stores all of your gift cards and stuff or like your plane tickets, things that would normally each be in its own separate app, can now all be together in Passbook.
Oh, I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
It kind of, yeah.
So yeah, I'm willing to let that slide for Sherlock for both his choice of iOS and also his choice of having, half a dozen laptops.
Yeah.
Like, where does he get all those? Does he just keeps them around?
I guess he does. Maybe he takes them. Maybe he steals them.
Yeah, the world's greatest detective just is out stealing laptops.
Maybe he steals them from criminals.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's like the Robin Hood kind of thing.
Lots of criminals have laptops.
Yeah. So there you go. Obviously, it's each laptop is just brimming with criminal evidence and whatnot, but he's also gonna chat with them.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't. No, you know what? I'm not even gonna get into it.
No, get into it.
Well, no, I'm just like, what could? No, I don't. I'm not gonna do this to myself. He's using 6 laptops, and God bless him. You know what? Just he can do it. He's Sherlock.
He sure is. What do you think of like Sherlock being nicer and less awful?
I'm okay with it. I think you kind of have to have that, because if he just continues to be, I mean, like, on the one hand, I could totally see them just keeping him being kind of like a dick, and then just have that like cause tension and drama at the wedding, this thing he doesn't understand or whatever. But I kind of like that he's not, and that he's kind of willing to sort of put up with all this stuff that maybe he doesn't quite approve of, just for the sake of John, making John happy. I don't know. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I kind of like it too, because I feel like probably the most obnoxious and awful thing he did was fake his own death and not tell John. So it's kind of like he's making up for that karmic debt.
Right. Yeah. It'd be hard to top that, first of all. But yeah, so yeah, maybe he feels bad about that. And then that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I think, well, and he even mentioned, didn't he mention, or it was like, I don't think it was directly stated, but he there was like I think like kind of a joke in there where he was like, you suffered tragic loss, sorry about that again.
Yes.
I assume that's what that was referring to.
Yes, that would be.
But yeah, so yeah, I think in some sense he's looking to repay that debt, I guess you could say, and I'm okay with that, because he's obviously still completely insensitive to everyone else. So
pretty much.
Though possibly not as insensitive as he could be.
No, I think he definitely like he kind of softens up in this series compared to series 1 and 2, which is fine. I mean, makes it a little different. Makes it like character development, all that good stuff.
Yeah, those characters need to develop.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's generally what characters do.
Usually, one hopes.
They either develop or they die.
Sometimes they do both.
And not necessarily in that order.
Correct.
So yeah. Hey, have you watched these at all on PBS?
No, I don't think I've ever watched Sherlock on PBS.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been, just for no particular reason, I've been recording them off PBS. With I guess partially the intention of watching them. But and they're largely the same for the most part.
What's different?
Well, there's a little PBS logo down in the bottom.
Okay.
Well, one of the things is that maybe this is on the BBC one too. But there's something that I've noticed, and that's in the credits on the PBS version. Some letters in the credits are colored red. I know.
What? Just randomly?
Not randomly. I don't know if people are like, I've like Googled these, and I don't know if anyone's like, putting up some kind of concern about this. But in the first episode, in the end credits, it spelled out, it was the letters WENGCHIANG.
What?
Yes.
Weng Chiang?
Yes. I don't understand.
What?
I mean, I know that it's a Doctor Who episode, and but I don't know why they did it. Like, and I
That's
get
bizarre.
I know. And it just, I guess I looked it up, because obviously I haven't actually seen that episode, but it's like, it features the Fourth Doctor like dressing up as Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that, but I don't see any reason why they would do that, aside from the fact that obviously Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss are both fans and writers on Doctor Who, but I don't know why they would do that.
It was on the first episode that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the second one yet?
Yeah, the second one spells out, and this one actually makes a little bit more sense after my Googling. It's ISA Dorapersano, which is, I think, Isadora Persano or whatever, which is referenced in a Sherlock Holmes story. I actually had it open, but then it's actually referenced in The Problem of Thor Bridge. Which where is it? This is from the Wikipedia article, of course. It's oh wait, okay, I didn't actually read it that closely, but it's what it's saying is the stories are notable within Also mentioned is the case of Isadora Persano, who was found stark staring mad with a matchbox in front of him, which contained a remarkable worm said to be unknown to science.
Okay.
So that could be maybe a reference to, or maybe in the actual episode, that thing with the matchboxes and the one with the glowing light. Maybe that's a reference to that.
Oh, well, I thought that was a reference to Pulp Fiction.
Well, it certainly seemed like it was a reference to Pulp Fiction. But maybe it was also a reference to that.
That's very strange.
I know.
Very, very strange. Now, I'm Googling a little bit about this, and apparently they've done this for past seasons, too.
Oh, really?
But I can't find specifics. I just saw, they're doing it again. I didn't see, a list of what they did previously. This bears further investigations.
Yeah, I had no idea that they'd done this in the past. I just thought it was very bizarre.
It's very strange. Wang Chiang.
I know. I could definitely understand them wanting to reference Sherlock Holmes stuff, but I mean Wang Chiang seems really reaching.
Well, no, it is a very it's a Doctor Who episode that's known to be very sort of Sherlock Holmes-esque.
Okay.
So it is kind of thought of as being that way, but I don't know if it has anything specific to do with that episode.
Maybe in I don't know, maybe they're going for things vaguely Sherlock Holmes related.
There's subterranean things that happen. Okay, whatever. That's very, very strange.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, I didn't know what to do with it.
I wonder what they'll do for the third one.
Yeah, maybe they'll spell out the snowmen.
Could be. We find out a bit more about Mrs. Hudson's backstory.
Yes, we do.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There are also several scenes in which Mrs. Hudson says that marriage changes people, because one scene where that happens just wasn't enough. It needed to happen a few times to really get the point across.
Yeah, it's got to really hammer that home. I think maybe Mrs. Hudson just feels she can finally offer advice about something, and so she this is her area of expertise. So she really just wants to hammer it home.
I guess.
She certainly has the most experience of any of the characters that we were aware of, I think.
That's pretty much true.
With the exception possibly of Sherlock's parents, but I don't think they would offer advice in this context.
No, and they're not in the episode, so...
Well, no, they're not. So that would do it. Maybe she just really likes change. So she's excited about things that change people.
I bet she is.
Yeah, I know that I would be.